What is up guys, it is Arcane Games here, back with another video, and in today's video we're going to be playing Arcane Conquest again, and we are going to be showcasing a max mythic and technically a fabled amulet Elementalist showcase. And we are going to be with Dr. Bob, who actually at the moment of recording this video we are number 1 and number 2 on the leaderboard, so I thought it would be quite nice, you know, little duo to get going. And he is an Arcanist. He's nearly got a full set himself as well, only missing the legs, so you know, he's not doing too bad over on his end. And yeah, we currently have the Elementalist, so just going to go over the pots real quick. Not exactly sure which is good or bad, but I do have quite the range. So the helmet is 96 stamina, the chest is 93, and the legs are 88. So obviously quite a range from 96 at the top. Or sorry, 90, not 96, 90. So we've got 90, 93 and 88. So, you know, it's more or less about the same, and if I'm being honest, I did have to borrow a weapon from a friend because my pot is 193, which is on the lower end, whereas my friend's is 209, where God pot's 210. So this is basically as good as you can get, so we're going to be using that for the video. And then with the Fabled Amulet, which was a grind to get by the way, you can do alts to make it a little bit quicker on yourself, getting the runes to craft up, but this was all grinded solo, which did take a while, so don't worry if you're nowhere near. I'm going to use the damage runes for these because I have 2 XP ones which are mythic, I have a luck one, and I have a HP, but I think for the purpose of the video, to get the most like output available, we should be going for the damage. So unfortunately they're not mythic, but luckily they don't have that big of a difference to where it's going to be detrimental. So we're going to be using the legendary ones, and we're basically just going to do a Calamity duo run with Dr. Bob, see how he's finding the game, and just kind of see how it does go duo, because at the moment, I'm going to be honest, I've just been doing big groups because that is the meta for Calamity, and I can imagine being solo level 35, or even lower really with a worse set, you're probably going to struggle. But that's the whole point of the mode, it is meant to be difficult. And if I'm being completely honest, even though you should be going for a DPS build or maybe a sprint on my skill tree, I'm going to have to go for healing because I usually play console, but for the recording of this video I'm going to be playing PC, so I'm going to need these mending curbs for me to survive at the bosses basically. So realistically you shouldn't really need to use these, you probably want to go double DPS or get the dash in instead of the mending herbs, but I'm going to need it because you know, it's going to be a bit rough out here for your boy. But appreciate the support on the last video. If this hits 40 likes, I will get another set to do a max showcase if you guys end up enjoying it. But that's basically all I've got to say, and I hope you guys are enjoying the update. I hope your days are going good, and let's get into the runs. Let's go. Alrighty guys, so we are now in the Calamity run with Dr. Bob. We are currently number 1 and 2 on the leaderboard, which is pretty cool. So I thought we'd get a duo together just to ask the boy a few questions, see how he is also finding the game. And yeah, that's about it. So how you doing, Bob? Your day going good?
I'm doing alright. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Otherwise, as I was explaining to Bob before the game, I currently play console, so having to play PC at the moment is a bit of a struggle, so we're going to try our best not to die and see what happens. But yeah, currently I'm Elementalist, as shown in the video, and managed to get a set together. And Dr. Bob as well is Arcanist, which is quite the unfamiliar pick because at the moment it is arguably one of the worst classes, yet you've decided to choose it anyway. So what's your thought process behind picking the class at the moment?
Well, at the start of reading all the classes, it pretty much looked the weakest compared to everything else, and I thought it would be unique to play the most unpopular class.
Yeah.
And it worked out for me because it kept getting buffs.
Yeah.
And as long as people keep saying it's the worst or the most unpopular, it's going to keep getting buffs and will be more enjoyable for me to play it. So it's only a win-win for me. I think I know only one other person that's playing Arcanist since the start.
Yeah.
And he's also enjoying it.
Yeah, because I know the group that I played with, and quite a lot of groups to be fair, a lot of them may have started off with Arcanist, but they've all tried to piece another class together. So there's not many people that are actually still Arcanist. But you are right in the fact that when they are making the polls on the Discord servers and whatnot of all of that, everybody who's arguably using the better sets are getting nerfed, and the ones that aren't getting any recognition are getting buffed. So then, arguably, you probably are in the better position to be running Arcanist at the moment.
Yeah. As far as I know right now, I think the top two best are Shadowmancer and Elementalist, and the bottom two are Champion and Arcanist.
Yeah, because one thing I have
I'm pretty
noticed.
sure.
Sorry, no, go
Oh,
on.
yeah. Oh, no, I was gonna talk about the Champion buff. I think it happened this morning. They ended up changing one of the spells to add like a DOT effect over time to,
Yeah.
I think it was a Rending Cleave. Now it deals 60% more, which, I mean, is a lot better, because it didn't really do too much damage before.
Yeah, no, all I was going to say is obviously the people that I've been running with that are champion, they found it really difficult to like attack the bosses, especially the last boss, because with like
Yeah,
the attacks it has, it doesn't give much room to get close, and the whole point of being a champion is to get up and close to the enemies. So I think they, like you said in the Discord, they were trying to either increase the range of the spells or, you know, change the boss attacks to make it a bit more accessible. Because at the moment for the mobs, it's it's really good, but for the bosses, which is unlike other games, these bosses have a lot more HP, to where it is a little bit more of a challenge to actually kill them. You are
yeah,
probably wanting to have a class, because the ones that I was running the other day, the champions basically just couldn't even get anywhere near the boss before it had an attack where you had a couple of seconds of leeway to go and hit the boss. And
yeah. It's
with
especially
element,
worse in the second phase too, because the ground disappears, and if you get caught in a rough spot where you just can't hit the boss, you're pretty much deemed useless. So it's
yeah,
really unfortunate for all the champions that play.
yeah. Because one thing I have noticed with the elementalists is even though you have a lot of HP, or well, you don't have a lot of HP, the other way around actually. Instead, what I've seen a couple of people do is they've changed one of their armor pieces to HP, so they can get a little bit more because the damage isn't really affected that much, and you're still getting like the big range from your spells, which is well, it's the best ranged class in the game from my knowledge. So
Yeah,
and then Arcanist isn't so bad, but obviously it lacks on the damage on range slightly. And with Shadowmancer, I've never really used it myself, but I have heard that it is doing pretty good. Do you know exactly the reason for that, or?
I actually don't. I do play with a lot of, like, my friends are almost all Shadowmancers and Elementalists, but I never really gathered why Shadowmancers do so much, because I think it's arguably the strongest class in the game right now, as it stands.
Yeah. Also, would you argue that these like phantom ghosts are like a random spawn rate? Because I swear every game that I've like a different type of enemy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. So in Calamity, what's changed from Arcane is that some of the enemy spawns will be random. So I guess like not the enemy locations, but like the mob spawns. Sometimes it'll spawn a regular mob, one of those squishy ones, or sometimes it'll replace it with one of the phantasms. I don't exactly know the percentage that it happens. Usually you only see like one or two. Sometimes you see like, five in the same run. But yeah, it's one of the unique mechanics that I kind of like it though. Adds more of a variety to every run because it makes not every run the same.
It does indeed. Also, just to point it out, guys, Calamity mode is meant to be difficult. I can imagine a lot of you are probably like level 30 with probably like a purple ledge set, still struggling. And that's because it is meant to. It is definitely big group orientated. So, if you're doing solos, expect to get the lower times or fail. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of scuff, but Calamity mode is meant to be difficult. So, if you guys are struggling, then, don't feel like you're alone. Because obviously right now we're the highest levels in the game with max sets, and still are getting slower runs compared to groups. So just have that in mind. But it is possible, and you have the 15 minutes. But yeah, honestly, it's not too bad once you learn the attacks and the mechanics. And it's nice to see that the game's doing good because again, it was peaking at over 4K the other day. And yeah, it just seems like this game has just even more to offer, and they're making constant changes and updates to the game. So yeah, that was the duo run with me and Dr. Bob. Do you have any final messages before we go?
Honestly, no. I think the game, as an early release, after being in beta for I think 2.5 years, this is an amazing start. And with the next dungeon only like what less than 2 months away, it's
Yeah.
it's very promising. I think the player count is only going to rise. So if you haven't already checked out the game, I'd highly recommend it. It's very fun.
Alrighty, that sounds good. Alright, well that was me and Dr. Bob. We wish you luck on your, future grinds and drops with the game. It will be linked in the description. Thank you, Bob, for joining me. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good rest of your week. Peace.